What is this?
This is a safety. It's a Volt Alert,
Uh-huh.
and it's especially it's a good tool. Like especially if let's say I'm crawling underneath a house in the crawl space, and
That's a
before
raised foundation.
yeah, under
It's
a
a
raised
slab, you're not
foundation.
crawling under anything.
Right.
Okay.
It's a wood floor,
Right.
usually foundation,
Mhm.
and older homes.
Right.
And you never know what bare electrical wires are
Mhm.
resting on a water pipe or whatever.
It's
So
like a Geiger counter. It's
I just test it. I
You
just
touched it?
yeah. You know, you can put it in if it's hot, it'll beep like that,
Oh, I see.
and the light will
Mhm.
shine, indicating it's hot before I touch it. And it's just a safety feature
Ah, okay.
that I use. And
What-
there's
what
other
have we not-
ways.
What's
This is a pressure regulator to test the water pressure.
Mm-hmm.
If it's over 80 psi, it's
Mhm.
too much pressure. It
Mhm.
actually wears out the valves and stuff
Mhm.
inside the
Mm-hmm.
residence. If it's too low, then that needs to be indicated also. Normal, it's good to have about 60 psi, which is normal. That comes preset on pressure regulators.
So when you're all done, and let's say it's paying you for a report, what do I get?
Well, number one, if you hopefully
I get this.
hopefully you went with me on the inspection. Okay,
That's a
number
good
one.
idea.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Hopefully
didn't
you
know
were
that.
there, and because what I like
I'm
to
just
do
following you,
is
then you explain
you're following me around, and what I'm
Oh,
doing,
okay.
I'm teaching you how that house works.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And so after you walk with me through this, I mean, you're not going to go on the roof with me, and you're not going to go in the attic with
Or
me,
underneath
or
the house.
underneath.
No.
But I will communicate with you through the whole way, and
Then you.
you know, basically teach you how this house works, and tell you about the problems and defects that I see right away.
Mhm, mhm.
You already have a good idea
Mhm.
of where you're going to proceed or how you're going to proceed from
Mhm,
there.
mhm.
But then, hopefully, within 24 hours, you're going to get a report like this.
Right.
I'll spend a good 2 to 3 hours or
Wow,
more
wow.
just writing up the report.
Uh-huh.
And
then is there?
then I'll send it to you email.
And do you
And-
summarize it anywhere? Is there some?
Yeah, what I do here is
Uh-huh.
because it is thick and it's very good reading material and you can learn a lot.
Right, but I just want to get the
And you
nuts
got
and bolts.
pictures. So yeah, it's what I call the summary report I put in here. And it's
Okay.
just basically a list
There
of
it is.
items. And there's your summary report. Realtors really like to have that. They
Uh-huh.
don't want to have to search through a full report like this
Right.
to identify the defects or
Mhm.
problems. And so
Wow.
it is
It looks
easy.
a little scary. I mean, it looks like there's, like you're, and a lot of it, I guess, is minor, right? Part of it is minor.
There's a lot of minor
We
things.
don't want a deal killer here. I think realtors. And,
Oh,
and
yeah.
somebody wants to buy a house, wants to buy it, but I think at the end of the day, they find a lot of things wrong that they didn't know were wrong, and then if
Exactly.
it's pretty severe, I guess it could kill the deal. But very rarely does it ever do that. But then they might want to go back to the seller and say, hey, you know, I might want some kind of a concession for some of the
Yeah.
things. Or either that, they might ask the seller to fix some of, especially the electrical and things
Mhm.
like that.
There's been times, depends on
Mm-hmm.
how the housing market's going or whatever.
Mhm.
There's times that they'll just take this, say, okay, fix everything, please, or whatever.
Mhm.
And sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, I'm not the buyer. I always felt that if a buyer is going to hire me to inspect their house, that's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not up to me to gauge what's important to that buyer or what's not.
Or what's important
So-
to save the deal.
Yeah, it's
That's the
not. It's
least-
not my
that's-
deal.
you shouldn't- that's right.
It's unbiased.
Yes. Uh-huh.
The whole goal here is to have an unbiased
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
inspection of all the components.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm just telling it like it is. And there is wording. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to say, oh, that stud's broken, that wall's going to fall down. I mean, things like that. But I mean, if it is a safety hazard, then you need to call it out.
So I'm a buyer, and I have several options. I could go into the Yellow Pages, and I could shop for whoever can get me the best deal for a home inspection, and maybe save $100, $150, and get somebody who ostensibly does a good job and will take care of the basics. Is that a good idea to price shop?
Well, it's a good idea to shop,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't recommend price shopping.
Okay.
And I mean, I get that all the time. You get a phone call, and the first question out of their mouth is, "How much do you charge for a home inspection?"
Right.
And what I do then,
Wow.
of course, then I say, well, are they looking for the cheapest home inspector they can find?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can find $150 inspectors,
Yes.
and ones that will just, like I said previously, will just go in 30, 45 minutes, little check-off list, hand it to you, and $250 later, be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And you still don't really know more than what you did when you began.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear that a lot of times from buyers. And so that's why I do a report like this that's just very thorough. And it's not, I've been accused, of course, of being picky and stuff like that, but it's not. It's just identifying the problems of that house. A lot of times the cover's missing on the outlet.
Mm-hmm.
To most people, that's non-incidental. That's no problem. What's wrong with that?
Because everything still works.
Everything works, and big deal. So the
Big
cover's
deal,
off.
yeah.
Why are you so picky about the cover? And I said, well, until your grandson walks over there and sticks his finger in the side and gets shocked,
Right.
it's not a big deal. Until that happens, then it's a big deal. And a lot of times, and I can be liable for things that I don't call out. So I need.
How would you be liable if let's say you've done a thorough inspection and you missed something, and someone, let's say you missed some kind of a bad electrical connection, and someone gets shocked or gets hurt?
Yeah.
How are you liable? They could actually come after you legally in court, and
Oh yes.
no kidding.
In fact, I'm liable. According to the business code, the California Business Code, I'm liable for up to 4 years on that one inspection.
No kidding.
Yeah. So what a good
Wow.
professional inspector will have a good insurance, a good errors and omissions insurance,
Right.
and a general liability insurance.
Hopefully you'll never need to use it.
Hopefully I don't ever need to
I'm
use
gonna
this,
guess
yeah.
you've never needed to use it.
I've never needed to use it yet, and
I would need to use it.
I would
If,
hope
if
not.
I were the inspector, yeah, I would be using it all the time.
And there are, that's why I do a detailed inspection. I don't. It's not my worry if that house sells or not. It's my worry is looking out for the buyer and give them all the information they need to make an educated decision whether or not they're going to buy.
We didn't talk about swimming pools at all, but a lot of people buy homes with swimming pools. What should they be looking out for? What do you look out for when you look at a swimming pool?
Well, it's mainly safety features that I look out for. The fence, the gates, how they're swinging, if they're self-closing or not, the different access points to that swimming pool. It's very important. And then also, you look at it's not that is like a whole different inspection in and of itself. And, but I do inspect pools, but it's mainly safety features,
Right.
the decking.
Things that are pretty
I look
obvious,
at
right.
different, the drains, it needs, to be an anti-vortex type drain because
Whatever
the
that
number
means.
one
Right, yeah.
killer for little children are in pools. They get sucked down in the drain, and
No
so it's a special drain that limits the suction.
No
the
kidding.
child can
No
actually,
kidding.
yeah.
Wow.
So different things like that. I look for safety features, electrical safety features around the pool, whether or not it's bonded or different things like that. There's quite a few items that you check for on a swimming pool.
Is it necessary to have a new home inspected?
Yes, it is. And the reason why is because your local city and county inspectors don't have time to do the type of inspection we do. They come around, they might have 30 or 40 inspections to look at in a day.
They just sign. They
They
check it
just
off.
come through, they're looking at
Yeah.
certain things. They're not testing for electrical, they're seeing, they're just there's just a code related type inspections. And but I actually test for the functionality of the systems and if
Okay.
it was installed properly and safely,
Okay.
and if it's working in proper order. And if it's not, then I refer it to the specialist.
Okay. Well, I have to say, I think we're running out of time, but I have learned so much. More in this interview than any interview, because frankly, I didn't know any of this. So I'm really glad you came.
Most people don't.
I'm really glad you came. I think those people who are fortunate enough to see the video on my Lone Man website will be much better off, especially if they're buying a home, than those who don't see it. So anyway, once again, thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
For spending
Thanks for
some
having
time
me.
with me, and I hope everybody here enjoyed the video, and have a good day. Thanks.
Thanks.